the first, the second technical session of today. That's the first panel discussion on hospital expansion and fundraising. So, ellargu kudkondu sustagidiya. Doctors know how to, energize yourself. But I request all of you, can you please raise from your seat? So, by the time the stage is ready, can I request all of you, please raise from your seats? ಎದ್ದೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ? ಒಂದೆರಡು ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. All young and energetic, dynamic doctors, doctorpreneurs. ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇದ್ದವರಿಗೆ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತನಾ? ಕುಳ್ತವರಿಗೆ. So please raise from your seats and can you all follow me? Please do what I say. Can we clap from a single finger? You please do what I say. Come on, clap. Next two. Fast. Please follow me. Next, three fingers. Three fingers. Those who are looking at your mobile, on the energize marnalva. So all your palm and all nervous system will get activated. So four fingers. Four fingers. Clap from four fingers. Next, five. ಇಷ್ಟೇನಾ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ? ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? Come on. Thank you. Now, can you please give high five to your neighbors who are sitting next to you? Both the sides. Turn and give high five. Both the sides. Using both hands. Please. Sir, ನೀವು ಮೇಡಮ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ನಾನು ನೋಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. Thank you so much. So we are going to start the technical session now. So once again, very happy to see all the doctors from all over Karnataka, and the speakers have come from all over India. Break or what? No, right? Shall we continue? We are actually lagging. So we'll continue anta ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? Can you please raise your hands? ಅಷ್ಟೇನಾ? It's very interesting subject, that is hospital expansion and fundraising, which is very much important, for your being a doctorpreneur, to become a doctorpreneur. So I request the convener of this, after this formal inauguration, now we have to shift to the knowledge gaining session. Today's panel brings together the leaders who believe in this philosophy of Kayakave Kailasa, combining healthcare with vision and values. So to guide the important session, I would like to invite respected convener Shri Shreyas Chandra to come on to the stage, sir. With a round of applause, Shri Shreyas Chandra, Head Investor Relations, Meresis Venture Partners. So Shreyas Chandra works as Head of the Investor Relations at Meresis Venture Partners. He is responsible for building relationships with individuals and family offices for the Meresis Group and helping them come on board. So Shreyas comes with over 20 years of experience, of which the last 10 years were in the startup investor ecosystem, being a key member of the companies like Kairatsu, Mentosh, and Saxon Capital in the past. He has been involved in the investment process of over 45 early stage companies in the past, raising investment from angel investors and funds. He also invests in his personal capacity. So huge round of applause, the convener of this technical session. Welcome to you, sir. I now welcome Dr. Avinash Benakappa, CEO of Nanjappa Hospital, Trustee of Nanjappa Trust, Healthcare Entrepreneur, MBBS, MS in General Surgery. He is a visionary leader in healthcare with more than 2 decades of experience as a surgeon, administrator, and entrepreneur. As a CEO of Nanjappa Hospital and Trustee of Nanjappa Trust, he has been instrumental in expanding healthcare services across Karnataka. He is the founder and director of Nanjappa Hospitals, Davangere, and the driving force behind Bensis Medical Solutions Private Limited, a pioneering radiology company with global reach. So his commitment to education is reflected in his role as a director of Deshiya Vidya Samsthe, one of the Shivamogga's leading educational institutions. With round of applause, Dr. Avinash Benakappa, sir, welcome to you. I now welcome Shri Sumir Verma. Yes, sir. co-founder and managing director of Merisis Advisors, investment banking leader with over 2 decades in investment banking. Sumir Verma is the co-founder and the managing director. He has advised and closed landmark fundraising and M&A deals for India's leading unicorns, including Ola and Flipkart. Sumir specializes in capital raising, mergers and acquisitions, and strategic growth advisory, making him one of the most respected voices in India's financial ecosystem. His insights into scaling ventures and structuring high-impact deals bring immense value to entrepreneurs and investors alike. Also, Dr. Sumir Verma was playing a key role while Dr. from HCG during his initial first time of investment funding. So congratulations and thanks to Shri Sumir Verma, sir. Yes, welcome to you. Actually, in fact, he helped Dr. Ajay of HCG in the first round of funding. So over to, thanks to Sumir Verma, sir. And next it is Dr. Nagendra Swami, sir. Dr. Nagendra Swami, Chief Executive of Ramaya Memorial Hospital, Bangalore, Founder Chairman of Medisync Health Management Services, former Group Medical Director, Senior President and Chairman, Quality Council, MHE, Advisor of Manipal Health Enterprises, who has over 40 years of experience in healthcare management with various national and international organizations in senior managerial positions and board positions, and proved in expertise as Regional Director, CEO, Medical Director, and Executive Director of Wellcare Hospital, Dubai, UAE. Also, he has been awarded with number of accolades and awards. And Nanu Belegge Helide, so he is the only person from private organization who is a member of Niti Ayog at the Central. So it's a great achievement, and we can say it's a feather to the community. So, and he has been awarded with number of affiliations, fellowships, and memberships. So, with round of applause, let us welcome all these 4 dignitaries on the dais. So, over to Shri Shreyas Chandra, please.
The most difficult session to moderate is the one before lunch, and I'm sitting right here. And the easiest one is post lunch, because nobody is listening. So, but yeah, I think great sessions from morning. Happy to be here, and we'll promise you a next 1 hour of power pack session with deep insights into what is happening in the funding and the M&A ecosystem in healthcare. We are in a very interesting point where the consolidation in the healthcare sector has happened in all the tier 1 cities, tier 2 and tier 2, and the focus now is slowly shifting to the tier 2 cities. So quickly, I will start off with my first question to Sumir. Sumir, just to set the context, give at a very broad level what's happening in the funding and M&A ecosystem in healthcare.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Lovely. Okay. Before I answer that, I just like to try and connect the dots. I think healthcare is a critical service, right? And we have various segments of the population, and everybody deserves the best service, right? And obviously, there is the public sector services and the private sector, and private sector also has a responsibility towards the community at large. The fact also is that the people who are providing healthcare services are also entrepreneurs. So whatever we look to do is to create a harmonious win-win for everybody, all the stakeholders, the people receiving care, the people providing care. The third category is also the people who are the shareholders in such ventures. The fact is that today there's a yawning gap between what we need for the population at large and what we have. And the government is doing its best to get there. And our job where we are at Mereces, is actually to encourage entrepreneurs to be able to fill the gap with their services, right? And so that's how I think the different requirements can be met. I just wanted to give that slightly perspective to why actually doctorpreneurs, thanks to Mr. Duncan Swami, new word that I've learned today. We are here to encourage them to be able to think big and to tell them that there is capital available if they are interested to grow their businesses, right? So, like I said, Shreyas, there is a large gap in the requirement of healthcare services. And doctors are actually seeing those opportunities and they are actually building out services and expanding. And the investors are seeing a great opportunity to participate with them. And so we've been seeing a lot of action happening. As Shalini also mentioned, you know, the large capital guys have been investing in this area. I have personally worked with Dr. Ajay Kumar a long time back, and now Healthcare Global Services is one of the largest, is the largest onco services company in India. Recently, we've had baby care hospital raising money. We've had onco chains raising money. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I can talk more as we go forward.
Yeah, thanks. I think in entrepreneurship, we say that it's never too late. And Dr. Nagendra Swami is the live example of it. At an age when a lot of people decide to retire, he started a he started a healthcare firm and raised venture capital. So, sir, next question, is to you. You have been a part of a corporate organization, which is one of the top organizations in the country. Part of a team when the organization really grew. It raised capital, went through every other chapter in the management book. Could you share some of your experience with the Manipal group when you were spending time with them, when it regards, especially regard to the growth?
In 1993, when the Manipal started in Bangalore, I have pushed the first patient into the hospital as an emergency physician. At least I carry that, halo of pushing the first patient into the portals of Manipal Hospital, Airport Road. I was a casualty medical officer, chief casualty medical officer. That's where my journey began. Then I went on to do my MD in hospital administration and became the administration person. We had only 2 hospitals in Bangalore that time, probably around 95, 97. One was Airport Road and the second was we took over one in Malleshwaram, which belonged to what is called as a North Side Hospital. Then the growth began. We slowly built up the 600-bedded capacity super specialty. Our aim was how to get into the tertiary care market without competing with the secondary care market. Because secondary care has been but as most of my friends here will vouch, many of the tertiary care hospitals today, 60% of the work is secondary care. That is because of the people trust and the branding. The question the healthcare always revolves around is the trust factor. We are going to hear about the branding in the afternoon, but the trust will play a major role, how you build the trust in the hospital. I think over the period of time in 2005, I again came as a group medical director and president. I was the P&L responsible. I was heading the profit and loss and trying to make sure that we stayed above the board. Once we knew that we need to expand and scale, I changed my job from P&L to the standardization of the care and standardization of the process. Why I am touching that in expansion is, as you expand, you need to have a cookie cutter where you can have your established, time-tested practices in your new environment. So I moved from a P&L, which is a very lucrative and a powerful position where you have everybody standing for a job, standing for a discount, going into quality which you don't have any power to do, but I took it voluntarily because that's what the board wanted me to do, because they wanted somebody who managed the clinical side and the operation side. I automatically fitted into the bill. When I exited, we had 16 hospitals valued at some 25,000 crores. Today, Manipal has become the second, probably the first largest chain with so many acquisitions and thing. One important thing that we made sure is the team. We brought in the professional people into each. You see, Manipal also a family concern to start with. It was a family concern. It was a not-for-trust hospital, not-for-profit hospital. We changed into the corporate hospital. And the key was when the management took a decision, each vertical, the 7, what you said in the morning, probably the morning speaker spoke 7 verticals. Only one thing is, in product there are 7. In service there is only 6. Because marketing and sales are merged in a service sector. You can't have it differentiate. In that 6, we brought in the subject matter experts. Exactly, we didn't see that one person with a skill set can fill in everything. We made sure we had a structure which had the subject matter expert and created a quality book called Manikwas. Manipal Quality System. That book is the Bible, which wrote from the entry to exit what happens in a Manipal hospital, right from the color, right from the board, right from the board. Fortunately for us, though we never went for an IPO or anything, we always had a foreign fund, the fund, investors putting in fund, and every investor got more than what he wanted as a return on his investment. That's what I was telling in the morning. There's nothing called free lunch. The investor comes with an expectation. He wants a certain amount of return from you. You should only take the money if you are confident that you can return that money to him. Then the new investor will come. You don't need to send him out. He will buy it out. That's what happened in Manipal till recently, when 2 major international people took over the controlling stakes. That's the journey. Quality, consistency, and having a standardization on your operations, and keep your eye on the margins. What we call as when I say margin need not be packed between the operational expense and the actual revenue that you collect.
Yeah, thank you. I think the key here is having a playbook for any hospital to expand. You need to have process in place where it can be replicable quickly. That's a takeaway. Dr. Avinash, coming to you, one of the very few regional hospitals which has grown, scaled from 1 to 5. 10 years back, the inspiration for any doctorpreneurs would have been Apollo or Manipal. But I feel now, since the concentration is coming towards regional, I'm sure you would be one of the role models for doctors in the regional places if they want to start off as an entrepreneur or even expand. A quick summary of how did Nanjappa Hospital start, and I'm sure the scaling has happened in the last decade, and how quickly was the last 3 hospitals scaled. It also boils down to the processes you said.
Thank you, Shreyas. Sharanu Sharanarthi. Nanjappa Hospital was started in the year 1987, about 40 years ago, by late Sri D.G. Nanjappa, who happens to be my grandfather, and my father, Sri D.G. Benakappa, who is the managing director of the hospital as on day 2. They both had a vision of bringing in accessible, affordable, high-quality healthcare to a city like Shivamogga, where in those days there wasn't a hospital which had all specialities under one roof. And we are happy that we have built an organization which people refer or people relate to as Namma Aspatre, Namma Doctor. As Dr. Nagendra Swami was saying, trust is the real currency in healthcare. No amount of money will be successful. You cannot be successful with any amount of money if you do not build the trust of people and trust of our own people within us. So we started in 1987. In 2011, we started another hospital, thinking we will start with cardiology and cardiac surgery services. But now we have added on all other specialties. We are a full-fledged oncology setup also in this part of the state. We have one hospital in Davangere started about 2 years ago. It's just a small setup of 40 beds. We're expanding now, adding another 70 beds. That will also be a full-fledged cancer setup, along with all other departments. We are the leaders in cardiology and oncology, so to say, in this part of the region. Yeah, that is where we stand now.
Okay, thanks. I think it's very important in regional places for specializations like cardio, onco to build a brand, build that trust, and that is what I think Nanjappa Hospital is heading towards. And what is the plans for expansion in the next couple of years, maybe?
I was talking to Dr. Nagendra Swami to guide us. We are now looking at 3 other cities, and 100% we'll be in one more city in next 12 to 18 months to come. 100% to 2 more cities in 36 months to come. We'll be a full-fledged 1,000-bed group in the next 5 years at the max.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Yes, I think coming back to you, Sumer, when it comes to fundraising, evaluation of hospitals for fundraising, what are the challenges that you see a smaller hospital, a standalone hospital run by a group of doctors or even a single doctor has, and how do you know?
Yes, so I think the biggest point would be doctor dependence. I think but the nature of how it would have started, there would be a star doctor who would have created it, and there's a lot of dependence on him. I think for any business to scale, you want to move to where you are more systems and processes driven, and obviously it allows you to scale because one person after a point can become a limitation, right? I think as a general rule, if a hospital is, like sir also mentioned, if the hospital is more process-driven, SOP-driven, you can make it out when you look at the cost of what the doctor payout is happening as a staff payout. And that's a very critical piece to tell whether they have been able to scale beyond one doctor's domain, right? I think that's one key point I think we should keep in mind. I think the other part really is about the first hospital that a doctor would put up typically would be owned real estate, right? I would say that 80-90% of the cases we see, the first hospital is always an owned center that you put up. But this is not a real estate play, right? This is actually healthcare. So actually, you would, for 2 reasons, you would grow faster if you look at it from a leased property perspective, and 2, you would actually set up hospitals where there is the catchment area if you didn't own the land there, because you would be thinking from a zero base as to where should I provide my services. It's good to have some owned assets because in the initial stages when you're growing, you will not get venture capital. You will not get private equity because venture capital private equity is looking at you having at least a couple of hospitals of 150 beds plus, etc. the first point of financing is banks. If you have collateral is when you get bank support. So owning the first hospital or two is a good thing, but you should wean away from it and start thinking in terms of where should you be for where your services are required. I can go on and on, but these are the two big points I'd like to leave behind.
Yeah.
We have very interesting thing with the small segment hospitals. As per one data, there are about 69,000 private hospitals in India, which covers about 18 lakh beds within them. If you look at only about 20,000 hospitals are out of the 69 are above 50 or 100 beds. See, here is very important catchment. Unless you have that revenue making opportunity of higher beds, with 10, 15 beds, you have limited yourself to the revenue growing opportunity. And indiscriminate expansion also is dangerous. We have two classical things in healthcare. One eye hospital chain went across the board. Today they are not even seen anywhere in the country. That's an eye-opener. One day everybody was so gaga over the expansion, it got killed. Second, a beautiful hospital, we did a fantastic EBITDA in Mysore, suddenly became avaricious and started chewing more than what you can bite. That's very important for us to know demand and the supply, where we play on that issue, and then expansion will become very easy. For small segment, very important for them to know is keep their finance books. For various taxation issues, they don't believe in keeping the book. What you have not accounted is never is calculated as your revenue opportunity. Maybe black, white, taxation, all that separate. If you go for a valuation, every penny need to be calculated.
Just like to add to what Sir said, many hospitals are actually not doing well. Exactly the point. Obviously, when you put up a hospital, you'll put up not a 150 bed, but you'll put up 40 to 70 beds. You'll wait for business to grow, your brand to build, and then you'll look to expand brownfield to 150 beds and all that. But many don't make it there. Exactly the point of view. We have a simple philosophy, we have a simple way of analysis. We say, please impute a certain rent for the hospital that you're using, even if it's owned by you. And then look at what you're earning out of it to figure out whether it's a asset that is generating the right return for you or not before you expand and go forward, right? But just to add to your point, absolutely, Kausar, you're right.
Thanks, Sumer. Dr. Avinash, you have scaled hospital, and I'm sure there are 2-3 very critical factors which are common even if you want to scale from 5 to 10. What are those 3 things which is, I mean, I'm sure there are many things, but 3 key things which will remain common and which really help you scale the hospital without having to worrying about the process?
Well, both technology and process are equally important. What we have done over the last 4 decades is that we have brought in the newer technologies to treat patients better. And acquiring these technologies has been very critical, find the right technology, find the right technology to diagnose or to treat. And once you get that, educating people about the newer technologies to avail those services in a place like Shivamogga or in any tier 2 cities has been a challenge, and it is even today. What we have done to do that is we pretty much own the second page of 2 state Kannada newspapers, and that's every Tuesday or every Wednesday, one of those days. We try and do articles which educate people. So bringing in technology and educating people is very important. Secondly, once you get that technology, it comes at a cost. So rationalizing cost in a place like Shivamogga, where the payer mix is very different from metropolitan cities or in bigger cities as such. There are very few insured patients here. Insured meaning private insurance, I'm saying. Most of them are covered under Ayushman Bharat or below poverty line, where the pay packages or treatment packages are very, very low. So rationalizing and putting it out for service has been very critical for us. Lastly, I think talent acquisition in any of these cities is a challenge even today. Fortunately, we have good talent. I see Dr. Vijay Chandrapa in the audience now, who leads our critical care team in Davangere. Davangere was lacking in that 24/7 critical care. That is what we have done in Davangere. And I see Dr. Guruchanna also sitting here. He's a surgical oncologist who's trained in Tata Memorial, Mumbai. We brought him here to start oncology services. So acquiring talent is also very critical.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the key takeaways is for a country like India, the cost of healthcare has always been a concern. So though it has to keep reducing, and tech is something which will enable us to do that. COVID, helped us accelerate the adoption. People now still, can, make use of teleconsultation, which even though it was there earlier, the adoption was very low. So thanks for bringing up that point. Sumer, in terms of what kind of hospitals somebody needs to get in, if DoctorPreneur wants to start something today, there is always a question: should I go into multi-speciality, single speciality? What's happening in the market, and where is that you see investor interest coming from, and what are the reasons behind it?
Sure. I think there's interest for both single speciality as well as multi-speciality. In multi-speciality, not so much secondary, but tertiary. I think investors would look for a combination of what we call Congo. So cardio, ortho, neuro, gastro, and oncology, right? So I've seen Mr. Nanjapa's hospital's profile, it kind of fits. You've been doing exactly that, Dr. Avinash. So I think these are the ones that people look for. I think this is what is the market. The super specialty that goes into urban are those which are catering to far more difficult ones, which cover multiple areas where a person is suffering. So, but a multi-speciality having Congo would be of interest. Single specialties, we've seen derma, we've seen IVF, we've seen opthal. Just one has to be careful that not all single specialties do well in all locations. So you need to look for underlying factors. For instance, IVF does well in Rajkot because of the NRI population. So I may not be able to tell you exactly which single specialty work here, but underlying factors decide that. I would say that's one. Second is, people are looking for chains. People are not looking for a single hospital. So they are looking for at least, you should have done 2 or 3. And, maybe one is owned, the others are not. 150 beds approximately, maybe scope to grow in each of them as your business grows. But it should be a chain, because the moment you put the second one up, the star doctor factor starts coming down. The doctor cannot manage 2 sitting in one place. He has to then build scale in the organization. So even if it is 10, 15 kilometers away, the second hospital will challenge him to build organization and scale. And with that comes technology, people, processes, everything, right? The last point, what Sir was also saying, processes. If you want to scale, you need to invest in processes, and all these things that I'm saying finally show up in your financials. And the financials speak the language that people understand. So whatever you do, it should be accurately reflected in your financials. And you know that we all have the temptation to maybe, uh, get cash in at times, right? There's always a short term and a long term. I leave it to you guys to figure out what your larger goal plans are in that context, right?
Thanks, Umair. Just to add a little, insight in one of the recent transactions that we are evaluating. It was an acquisition of a hospital by a large listed entity, where they had a minimum criteria of 100 beds. But then this hospital was having around 65, 70. But one of the things that they asked us was, is there a space around the hospital to expand? So we are okay with 70 bed as far as this is space. So this was one of the learnings when we were doing this transaction, and just thought of sharing that along with that. This is coming to Mr. Nagendra Swami. What are the advantages that hospital owner can get when an institution investor comes on board?
I think there are advantages and disadvantages. It depends on what stage you get that investment coming in. There is a requirement at one stage of the hospital growth. You require fund more than anything else to keep your progress going. That time, if you can carefully manage, the controlling interests are not lost over it, over the fund acquiring. So you definitely will have advantage of getting the cash flows going to you. In an Indian scenario where I'm sure my friends here will say recovery is very, very difficult. Everybody writes 90 days, 60 days, and they pay you at 120 days, or ESI, or some of the government schemes pay you almost 1 year. But your outgo will not be dependent on what they pay. Your doctors have to be paid, your suppliers have to be paid. So that fund crunch most of the hospitals will suffer. That is where the investors will come. They add in quite a bit of business value to you if you get a right kind of an investor. Like how they do the due diligence to us, we need to do the due diligence with whom we rub the shoulders. We should not have, they should bring value to the table, not just money. Will they give us some connects? Will they give us some expansion? There should not be any conflict in their thing. I had an experience where they had invested in one company, they had also invested 10 times more in another similar company. So their interest was always under the 10 times more paid. They didn't mind this other company dying. So there are certain very clear indications. The investors will definitely help, but their objective should be very clear. They are here, they are putting their money, they want to take their money out. How will we ensure that? Coming to again single specialty, multi-specialty, or a brown field or a green field, it has got its own advantages. The multi-specialty, the beauty is your asset needs to be sweat. You have put already the investment on the OT, your infrastructure and everything. If you don't completely utilize it, if your limitation of the occupancy is coming from that, then the whole project will suffer. Most of the single specialty is always by a well-known doctor. A doctor who has already made her name or his name can boldly go in because they have the captive audience. My question is, succession planning is not well done. What happens when that elite doctor stops her practice or his practice? How it will take over?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting. We now often say that getting investors is like getting married, just that it has a lock-in period of 10 to 12 years, unlike regular marriage. Avinash, the next question is to you. You are somebody who's deep dwelt into the regional healthcare ecosystem. What are those models which fit well in the regional space in terms of adding to your top line? It could be partnership with local smaller hospitals, doctors, or any other model where it helps the business of a larger hospitals.
Well, there's no one model which suits to every city across. I guess every city's model has to be evaluated before even going. What we usually follow is we try to see what are the services which are lacking in that specific area and keep them as the driver for that infrastructure or that facility. Rest all other facilities we services we still add, but we try and identify the service which is lacking there. That is how we start. And secondly, what was the second question you said?
So any partnership with hospitals in a smaller hospitals who don't have the specialization. Do you have any such partnerships?
Yes, from Davangere we visit Ranebennur, where a couple of hospitals where they don't have gastroenterology and oncology. Other than that, we have not partnered with anyone. We believe educating people is the most consistent. If you do it consistently, that's what is going to stay on a long. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Yeah, I think interesting trust and brand building is
Sorry?
what trust and brand building is what
yes.
matters.
Yes.
Sumer, coming to you, what are the methods of evaluating a startup at the time of fundraising, as well as if an existing hospital with a consistent revenue? What are the methods which is used in them?
So, you know, the base unit in a hospital is the bed. So there's a terminology called RPOP, which we all follow. And basically you're looking at the revenue potential per bed, which gives a good indicator, right, of how well the hospital is doing. So it depends from region to region. Tier 1 would be almost twice that of a regional hospital. So maybe 35,000 for Tier 1, maybe 18 to 20,000 for Tier 2 cities, etc. That's one way of looking at it to say whether I think the business is earning well on its asset. Of course, you also look at the whole financials and say how much is the payout for rent, how much is the payout for doctors, how much are you, what's happening in diagnostics, what's happening in the pharmacy. Because sometimes you have a leakage in pharmacy, you need to figure those things out. And finally, if all's going well, the investors are valuing it on a multiple of EBITDA, which is the income earning before interest and depreciation. So purely the operating income, not linked to how your asset has been financed. And typically there's a multiple, generally multiples are in the 14, 15 times of EBITDA range is how hospitals are valued. Of course, if you're more marquee in a market where you are large market share, these multiples change obviously, right? And or if you're a much smaller one, they tend to slip down. But I'm giving you a broad range and a methodology of how these things are done.
Okay, okay. Thank you. There's a reason why we all are here, right? You know, ILYF, it's little over 10 years, organization started small. They have grown to multiple chapters in different cities. I want, this question would be for both Dr. Avinash and Dr. Nagendra Swamy. what is the role played by community? Like for example, the community, when I say it's our Lingayat youth community itself, can play in helping each other's business in terms of improving the quality of service offered, at the same time a win-win situation to all the community people who are involved. Wanted your thoughts on that, because it's a question which was close to my heart, and I've been seeing ILYF grow as an organization, and we want to expand that network effect by adding more doctors and members to that community. So your take on that?
I think as per the industry norm or a World Health Organization requirement, we are very short of beds. That means there is enough for everybody to succeed in this market. But very few are succeeding. That's the main question that we need to do. What is the comprehensive we can work with? Collective buying, quality improvement, and niche area. If I am good in orthopedics, why should I be doing OBG? If my facility can do, somebody is doing OBG, we can have a collaborative arrangement with them, especially with a group like ILF, where if they are in the same city, can they form a collaborative arrangement? Can they all buy together? Instead of me buying 1,000 gloves and he buying 1,000, if I can buy 2,000 gloves, my economy of scale will give me a big advantage to both of us. So we need to look at what are the areas without being hurting to each other we can do. But it all takes mindset. You have to have similar mindset people to sit across do, otherwise these things won't succeed. But all the more important is the margin in the healthcare industry. Though it is not true, all high-ticket items will give us high margin. It's sad. My cardiac surgery may be billed at 3 lakhs, but my margin may be only around 30,000 in that. My gastroenterology may be only smaller, let's say 25,000. My margin is larger percentage on it. We need to look at how do we balance in the healthcare. There are some places where you get margin, where you don't get margin, you have to manage that. It's like that mortuary is necessary. That doesn't mean that you have to put a dead body in the mortuary. But at the same time, without a mortuary, a good hospital will not be there. Similarly, all services are necessary. All will not give you the top line or a bottom line on it. For example, if you ask me in my experience, there are 4 areas which give the high delta to you. Lab, radiology, OT, ICU. The 5th one, surprise one, is the cafeteria, which lot of us miss. There is lot of footfall and a high revenue item in the profit item in the. We happily outsource it without getting into the financial proper due diligence of what I should get for giving him that. Rest of the things we have to maintain to sustain this fight.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Nagendra Swami. He's always been advocating cooperative kind of business within our community. He did this in Mysore too, saying, why can't we all join together, try and buy everything to the hospital from one source, or one central procurement department to be run by our community. Definitely it adds value, because that is a good proportion of margins in any healthcare. As you rightly said, there are few hospitals which are specialized in few departments. We need to identify, we need to sit together, and we should accept that we will remain in this and you can remain in this, we can still grow. The problem comes a couple of years later when one department is doing a little lower revenue than the other. The department which is earning a little higher revenue starts saying, why should I listen to him? I mean, that's what happens. Thirdly, in this tier 2 cities, and also I don't know to what extent in metropolitan cities, hospitals cater to all these government schemes. A lot of money gets stuck there. If we can represent to the government together that this is how probably should work, makes it more financially viable is what my thinking is. Am I right, sir?
Absolutely. The social medicine is important to reach out, but how much of that we can do at such rate? They want a cesarean section to be done at 40. It won't even meet the consumable cost. One side you want quality. I'm happy yesterday the government has announced standard of practice SOP. That's a good bargaining chip for me when I sit, okay, I will follow all this. This is the money that is required to do this. It has got pros and cons on doing it. I agree. There is one model in Shivamogga, I am very happy. Certain doctors have joined together. They have floated a laboratory and radiology group, which all of them sent to that thing instead of sending to third party. That's a good example of what a collective thing can do together. If they work, the profits will remain with them than going out to somebody. But definitely the schemes has to change their paying policy. Today, if they are doing in government, that's okay. But because there is no capital cost from the government, it's a taxpayer's money happily spent on the land, the equipment and the salary. But it's not same with she has to bring money, the land has got, the equipment has got, salaries has to be paid. It can't be on equal term.
Much money on that, and that fight will continue. Correct. But what it does is it gives you a mix of high volume, low margin, low volume, high margin, and investors actually look at that because when you actually get high volume in, you're recovering your fixed cost on that. And so you do good to the community, and you also do good to your shareholders and yourself. So that's one way of doing it. I think it's not so, I don't know what percentage of Ayushman.
I'll tell you, what happened is, so far, we have not done any procedure on a cost basis. We have not done the accounting on the cost basis. It's mostly industry driven. Oh, Nanjappa charges so much, I want to be 10% up Nanjappa or below Nanjappa. It's not done scientifically. Last few years back, Karnataka Dana Ayog, under the chairmanship of Kasturi Rangan, the late Kasturi Rangan, ISRO chairman, conducted a survey on the procedure-based costing. Only one person was there from the hospital industry representing. Rest all was Indian Institute of Management, and the shocking was they were paying 30% lesser than the actual cost the hospital incurs. Indian healthcare is rob from the Peter, pay to the Paul. We take more from the people who can afford, and we are subsidizing. It's a cross-subsidization model that Indian healthcare works. So it is very important that we go to the cost accounting of the procedures before the tariff is fixed. Sure. That is where we have failed thoroughly, both from industry and from the government. They take CGHS as the final rate, and CGHS has never been done scientifically.
Okay, so I think I'm getting looks last set of questions. Again, back to you. There's a big issue which is happening, which happened in the West maybe 20 years back, which is happening in India now. A lot of traditional business are having succession issues. Succession issue. Children don't want to run the business, and healthcare is no exception. A lot of children of doctors, they are into different professions. They have moved abroad, and it's becoming very difficult, because they have run the hospital for 40 years. What is your message? How do they handle this kind of situation?
I think that has become a big problem today. because when I was trying to run the secondary care hospitals, 70% of my clients were such who didn't have a succession in there. Because today, you know, only a few people like Dr. Jalija and Dr. Sachidanand are lucky to have children who have taken the profession in the same way and the same thing. Most of, including my son, didn't want to do the medicine. That is how the people are seeing medicine. The younger generation are seeing this is a very long haul. To earn your fame and your name, you have to work long years. Whereas, okay, your job, they will earn much faster and grow much earlier. They are all lucrative at that. With the succession not coming up, they have left with only one option. Either they should close down or they should hand over to somebody who should manage. That is where we have to look at an opportunity how to take over something. Because you see, they would have worked 65, 70 years. They need a break. They need to enjoy the fruits of their life, which lifelong they have worked to reach at such stage. That was the idea, that we should have some agency which would help them to take over.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise, some good institutions will get closed within no time.
yeah, totally agree.
I would like to add to what Dr. Nagasama is saying. The husband-wife run hospitals, or single doctor run hospitals, if they are advised to run the hospital professionally, as in how Manipal is run, or how corporate hospitals run with investors, that gives them an opportunity at the end of their career to encash the value of that 20, 30 years of hard work for them. If their kids are into medicine, they could continue to do that. But if the problem is when they don't want to, as he's saying. So advocating and advising young doctors when they start their hospital to start from scratch and do it professionally from day one, that probably gives them value over a period of years. If they don't want to run, they can step aside and encash the value and go away. Am I right, Dr.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing those insights. Open for Q&A. If there are any questions, happy to take.
Lot of consolidation is going on in the medical field. And all of you are telling, majority of hospitals are not doing well. But the Western world is seeing there's a healthcare boom in the industry, especially in India. What's your comments? Even Manipal is taken over, majority Indian. Even the biomedical waste, hazardous waste, everything is taken over by the investors or whatever you call it, foreigners. And where we stand now?
Truly, about 7 major issues have been taken over. That's something that we all, once we were the owners, now we are going to become the, paid by them to get it. Whether it is Manipal took over, Fortis has been with the foreign investment, same with the Max has been taken over, Radius has been taken over. At the end of the road, what is happening in the name of the expansion and consolidation, the ownership is moving to the, it's an investor group which has got money to come in and pump in and thought as an opportunity in India to make a big money in the healthcare. That is where we have to be cautious. How much money we need, why do we need that money? That's it.
So that's one way of looking at it. Look, you cannot force anybody to sell, right? People are choosing to exercise their right and selling. It's not that everybody is selling. There are people, in fact, if you look at the other trend, today the public markets are actually encouraging smaller companies to come to the bourse. So you have an opportunity now of not having to sell to pay off the investor. You can list the company and continue to control your company. The examples, sir, that you're talking about are people who chose to sell. Because we are seeing this trend, the second generation or even the first generation after a certain period of time wants to encash, convert to be a family office and manage capital and
What you
don't
said
be in
is
the
right,
operations.
But there are things that they have been forced to sell. Easy. They are forced to sell.
Sir,
They are
that
forced to
was
sell.
not necessarily forced to sell. That is our imagination. The question is the person who sold knew very clearly why he is selling. He wanted that encashment of his hard work for so many years. If he can get a lump sum money, what he would earn in next 20 years, put on my table and say,
Let me put it in a different way, sir. This is a partnership that, let's say you give money to somebody, right? You are invested in somebody. You don't want your money back?
See,
You want your money back?
you are 100% right.
Right?
But my point is, see, the Western, especially some of the data we are talking about, we don't have a data of our own. We are just copied. And apart from that, all the politicians are talking about social justice, social service, sort of things. And regarding the government, as you rightly put it down, where is the cost of the government hospitals? It's a free land, you value it, you the equipment, you value it, the manpower you equip, and the pension, everything is you value it. Then they are almost costlier than the private hospitals.
You're absolutely right, sir. That's why when we started,
And all the politicians, why
Right.
we are not bringing them to the forum? You bring the politician to the table, then let them understand what is it. See, our own, just you have heard, our own education minister don't know about the 57 rules and regulations that has to be taken. Is it not pathetic? Please tell me. He is the education minister for the past 5 years. He is openly telling, I don't know about the 57 license has to be taken over to run the private hospitals. What's your answer for this?
Sir, that apart, have we all represented to the government? Have we ever represented? Have we sustained that representation until we achieve it? We have not done it. It's our problem. We don't have to probably blame politicians without ourselves making effort. We have not made a serious effort to anything. Just as an example, we got a linear accelerator radiotherapy equipment to our oncology department. The customs duty on it is 35%. The government wants us to provide cancer care at a subsidized cost. We have not represented. It's our duty also to represent to the government. So this august audience here can suggest, can bring up, along with the collaboration of ILYF, represent to the government of whatever we need. That is what end of this speech he said, you come represent.
Yeah, I think we'll take one last question before we break for lunch.
Last question,
Yeah.
Dr. Ravi here. Sir, you brought a very important point. Unlike the metros, I practice in a tier 3 city, a taluka place. I run a 100-bed hospital there. And if you go to metros, the penetration of the insurance, of private insurance is much higher. You come to a tier 2 city, penetration of private health insurance is less. You come to a tier 3 city, Ayushman Bharat is all that we have. So, one model which you told is, I think, high volume, low profit, low volume, high profit. Yes, that works. But can we not represent the government if the government is not ready to, say, do it openly that we are going to increase the rates? Since this is a common platform, I'm requesting all of you, can we not represent the government asking for, you pay this remaining amount, can we not collect from the patient? Maybe they allow it.
Sir, let me answer the question. We have been multiple times represented. I have my FANA members sitting at the back. They know how many representations have gone to the government about it. I tell you, when I wanted to speak in the morning on entrepreneurship, I just wanted to tell politician is also an entrepreneur. He is putting his money to unback his money in some other way. But with the respect to the people on the dais, I avoided that sentence. At the end of the day, till the governance has a responsibility. If you go, I'll tell you a Singapore model. You run a private clinic in Singapore city, government pays the consultation fees for you as a private hospital owner. People are not burdened for that private visit because government thinks that much of my burden went down on government hospital. You are serving my thing, I am willing to pay you. Because is it not, you know, if you look at the operational module of how you run a hospital, how a government hospital runs, you will be shocked. They are spending 40 times more than what you spend to give the same service. It all boils down to the governance issue. At the same time, what is necessary is we to stay united. Once, let me put it, I stopped as a president of the Private Hospital Association in Bangalore. My friends are sitting there. We will not take any patient unless the rates are revised for us. For 4 or 5 years, they did not change the rates, inflation, and the minimum wages went up. How does we survive on that issue? The same government increased the minimum wages, same government published the inflation rate, but they were not willing to give the rise in the thing. We went and stopped all the services. We told to the people, if you have insurance, you please come, give us money and take reimbursement because your relationship is with the insurer. I am not the one. You bought the insurance, you go, you take the thing. 1 week they came for a negotiation table. By that time, our friends in our fraternity became so jittery that somebody went on the backside and signed 3 agreements. The problem is we don't have a unity to fight together. You go to a liquor guy and do that, all the people will be together in fighting. The problem is unity, and I think the other one is to have a scientific pricing. They always think when we ask for a pricing, I want to make more money. They are not understanding I am not meeting the cost. The moment the private, we have lost the trust of the patient, we have lost the trust of the government and the press. How do we regain is the main issue where all of us need to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Avinash. Thanks, Dr. Nagendra Swami. And thanks, Sumer, for the insights. I think I'll hand it over.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. I request Dr. S. Sachidanand, sir, former Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bangalore, to kindly present mementos to the convener and all the panelists of this session. You people have played a key role in bringing resources and partnership to healthcare, ensuring hospitals grow with strength and sustainability. So in hospital management and fundraising, values are more important as vision. So your passion, expertise and generosity has made this discussion a grand success. So I request all the participants, please give a round of applause for their time and knowledge they have shared through this discussion. Thank you. Here we are breaking for lunch for 30 minutes, so kindly request you, please come back in 30 minutes. So by 2:35 sharp, we are going to start the technical session, that is investment and wealth management for doctors. So please, now it's a break. Thank you.